Hello, thanks for joining. Whoever has joined, can you just confirm if you can hear me? Hey guys, can you hear me? Am I audible? Am I audible if you can confirm? Okay, thanks Ashish for confirming. And we will just start and let others join. Anyway, we are little delayed. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. And what is the agenda for today's session is I will just give you a high level understanding of how to plan your project. Okay, so the situation is what is the problem I'm trying to solve is you go somewhere, you learn data science, and they give you certain projects, right? So maybe an offline institute or online places, right? So they will give you some project in the name of capstone project, blah, blah, blah. But what happens is when you put that in your resume and when you go for the interview, right? Then maybe you don't have a complete story or you don't have a full understanding of how to explain that, or when cross questions comes to you, then you are not able to answer that. So that is the exact problem I'm trying to solve here, and I'm trying to explain you not all the projects will make sense for your profile. Okay, so we have to use our intelligence to create our own story. So that's what, and I will tell you using some of these common questions. Okay, so first common question that many people ask is how many projects I need for my resume, right? So if you are doing interview or if you have been attending interviews, you will note that interviewer will give you chance to explain any project of your choice. Okay, and in very rare scenarios they will tell you don't explain this project, explain some other project. Okay, but very rare they will tell you explain me 3 or 4 different projects. Okay, so normally they will ask you explain any one project that you have done. Rare chance they will tell you explain me alternate project, not this project. So I will say if you are having 2 good projects in your bucket, okay, in your resume, 2 good projects, we will discuss what is the definition of good project. 2 good projects you should have in your resume so that if sometime you are told to explain an alternative project, you can do that. 2 good projects you should have, preferably of different flavors. So What is the meaning of different flavors? Don't put both the projects of recommendation engine. Don't put both the projects of, let's say, any one type of analysis or any one domain. Don't put both the projects of NLP only. Don't put both the projects of any one area. Try to keep two different flavors. Okay. And this I'm talking about the project which goes to your resume. Apart from that, you can do 10 projects just for learning purpose, your own choice. You are free to do that. But what goes to your resume, I'm talking about. Okay. Then comes this I will call as main projects. Okay. Main projects. Then comes the question of how how to put that, or what are the preparation needed to build the main project. Okay. So I'm assuming many of you are trying to come to data science from a different field, or from a different job, or you are a student or something. So there are few things you need to take a note here. You must have a GitHub. Okay. GitHub. In that GitHub, you must have a README file for all your projects that you are doing. Here you can put as many as projects you want. Okay. um, of course your main projects you will put, but additional things also that you are doing, you will put it here. Okay. Try to see if you can have a website for yourself, because you have to look different from others. So try to see if you can have a website where you will have a simple, your introduction, or your blogs, or link to your GitHub, link to your work. Okay. And then in any way try to make the project visible to the front end. Okay. So which means, what I mean to say here is, by doing anything, make it possible that I can feel your project, or I can touch and feel your project. So how it will help you is, suppose tomorrow you are asking in LinkedIn to somebody, give me some referral, right? So before asking this, you can showcase your work saying, this is the work I have done, and these are my expertise. Please click on this link and you can visualize what I have done. Okay. So these are the preparatory step. So these things you should do before even, I will say, completing your resume. Okay. Otherwise, many cases people will ask you for GitHub link. People will ask you where is your project residing. So, preparation for creating your good project. Okay. Now, as I told you in the beginning, what makes a project good or bad for you? So let's say somebody from a mechanical engineering background comes. He doesn't have a lot of idea on how image analysis works. Okay. But he goes to ABC Institute, and these guys give him a project on image analysis, and this guy puts that image analysis project as his main project. At the moment people start asking little bit about image analysis, this guy has no head and tail of what to talk, because he has a prepared story in his head. Okay. That is the thing he wants to talk in the interview. If somebody here and there comes, he is not happy with that, he does not want to talk that. Okay. So I will write here what makes a project good project for you. Okay. First of all, the see, you have the choice of calling something as your main project, right? So see which project is closer to your knowledge area. Closer, even if it is not exactly falls in your knowledge area, which project is closer to your knowledge area. Somebody from automobile background can do analysis of automobile related, mechanical engineering related things. That makes more sense for him, closer to the knowledge area I'm talking about. Somebody from an insurance background, if he or she does a insurance related project, maybe he or she will of course relate it better, and in the interview they can talk more about it, right? So something which is closer to your knowledge area is first component of a good project. What is second component of a good project? Second component of a good project is it should be interesting and unique. Okay. Now why I'm saying this is, in the institutes they will sell one project to hundreds of people, all of them will write same project in their resume. It's no more interesting. Okay. Interesting and unique. So your project should be interesting and it should be unique. Your story should be unique. Now it depends on you how you create that unique story, which data you are taking, that I will talk now, and what story you create from that. But uh, forget all these basic Titanic Boston projects. I'm not talking about these projects. there are more projects which are being given in the institutes, and you will see that in every other data science resume, which looks really, really bad. Okay, really, really bad. It looks that, you take a resume, you see some common projects. So it gives very wrong impression. Try to have your project as interesting and unique. Okay, and how do you make it interesting? By your storytelling skill, by your interesting problem statement, by your unique way of explaining the project. Okay, and then your project must be, I'm talking about main projects here, must be end-to-end project. End-to-end means you have to pay more attention to, understand here guys, this is your ML part. Okay, ML means everything right from data gathering, to data cleaning, to model building, to model training, to accuracy, blah blah blah. This is your ML block. Okay, before this comes many things, and after this comes many things. Okay, so this area and this area, you have to create very good story. I will tell you why. Because many people will be able to talk about what is happening in this block. Okay, many people will be able to talk, okay, data was like this, data was like that, we did this feature engineering, we did that, but not many people will be able to explain how that is being used in the production, number one. And number two, why machine learning was a solution for that. Okay, so you have to sound like a professional, don't sound like a student, number one. Don't project yourself as a beginner. Don't do these two things. Don't sound like a, I'm learning data science, I'm a student, if you give me opportunity then I will do more things. Don't sound like that. Sound like a professional. This is the business use case. This problem can be solved using machine learning. So we went ahead, we discussed in our team, we came to a machine learning solution, and how that is being used in the production, that story also you have to create. Now you will ask me how to create this story and that story. I'm a student, I'm in college, or I never worked in a data science team. So here many kinds of profiles can come. Okay, so maybe somebody is a student. Okay, they have no exposure to industry at all, and somebody is in some different field, right, some other field. They have some exposure but not too much of exposure, I mean not exposure to data science. So students have to create their own story. I will give you some examples. So see, I cannot create a case wise story, right? If I talk to you personally, then maybe I can create a tailored story for you. But here I will give you some stories how you can create it. So for example, you are a student in an engineering college. Okay, and your placement, your placement wing, I will say, is looking for a solution. I mean, they are what they are doing is they want more companies to come to their organization, I mean college. So what they are doing is they are going to various websites, company websites, and trying to see who are hiring freshers, right? So maybe you can create a story that me and two of my friends, which you can call your team, build a web scraping tool which can scrap the data from targeted 100 to 100 companies website from their career section. If freshers opening is there, we build a model where you know we could pass the natural language processing and then your machine learning pipeline, and then we put that put that in the production, or put that live, where every 7 days or every 10 days that scrapper will run, predict, and give the result to my placement committee. Now here, if you note, nothing fancy might be happening in this part. In the ML part, there may be nothing fancy happening. But since you have an end-to-end story, so it looks interesting. Okay, try to focus on how you are solving a business problem. Okay, don't think that if you talk of a very advanced level machine learning technique, then people will be impressed. People are impressed when you are solving a business problem. Okay, a placement committee doing manual filtering of companies was a business problem which you solved. So this is one use case. There can be other types of use cases. You can think more on these lines: how I can make an interesting use case, how I can do an interesting project and host it somewhere. End to end means people should be able to see that. Okay, at this moment I want to just press the like once so that others can also join. If you're liking the session, guys, press the like once. And if somebody is in some other field, or maybe not a fresher, I will say, they are doing something else, somebody is from a, let's say, marketing background. So they might be seeing some kind of marketing data, they might be facing some issues in their tracking the marketing activities, right? So for example, they ran some campaign, and it's a manual exercise to see the results of the campaign, or it's a manual exercise to plan what goes best for the next campaign, right? So you are frustrated with that problem, entire team was spending a lot of time in that. So you learn data science, AI, machine learning, you gathered all the data, and then you did a model, and then you build in production, which tells that, okay, next marketing campaign, if I am doing a campaign in Q2, then Q2 is a, let's say, time of schools, so pay more attention to uh, college students. Just an example I'm giving. The target campaign should be college students. Okay. On the other hand, if the campaign is running in the Q3, then maybe target more of school students if I'm running a campaign. Just some examples I'm giving. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I am using one data which I know, which is closer to me, and I'm building a solution that can solve the business problem. Okay. And this can be very well hosted somewhere, and this can be very well shown with, okay, input your campaign data in this format. It will tell you what works, what does not work. This is the format my model is expecting data in. Go there, browse, upload your Excel. It will tell you this works, this does not work. So if you note here, I'm focusing attention on closer to your knowledge area, interesting and unique, and end to end. These three fundas you have to remember. Okay. That only makes a project good project for you. And see, everybody can create their own story, everybody can create their own project. But imagine why I told this guy to work on marketing data only, because this guy knows marketing data well. And if cross question comes, if how many rows were there, how many columns were there, what columns were making sense, this guy can talk on that. This guy can talk on college placement thing. Okay. So don't think that if you put a super fancy project, then only people will be impressed. That becomes your definition of a good project. Now the thing is how to get the data, right? One important thing is, okay, you are telling all these things, how to get the data for we don't get right data. So data gathering also will depend on where you are currently. Okay. Suppose you are working in an organization. So obviously you are working with some data, right? Let's take example of an HR. HR also has access to some data, right? If you are working, I don't see data as a problem. Okay. But if you're not working, if you're a student, or if you are a kind of looking for the first job, then data may be slight problem. Okay. So all of you know this, Kaggle is a great source for getting some of the data. And I have created a video on free data sets on internet. You can search for that. You will get many data sets. But again, don't say that these data sets you have got from some CSV you have downloaded from internet. Create some interesting story around that. Okay. Suppose you are taking a data of ABC company also from the internet. Okay. So what you can say is, in LinkedIn, I have a connection of vice president of ABC. Okay. Vice president of ABC. And they had some non-sensitive data, which they wanted to, put some data scientists for one of the hiring. And for one of the hiring, I got that data, and I worked on that data. This is the project I have built on that data. Some story, but do not say that I took it from some CSV file I downloaded from internet. There has to be something different, some difference maker. Okay. And you search on these free data sets for data science, you will get many data. This is, I mean, many places where you can get data. This video I have created long back, but you can search it, free data sets. Okay. And if you are a working professional, my advice is work on the data which is closer to you, or which you can have easy access. That way you can create your story also, that this is what I did. Okay. And last but not the least, how to create the story and how to make it interesting, right? So let's take two examples and try to understand. Somebody is a HR, and HR faces issues of, let's say, attrition. Okay. So simple problem, not a complex problem. any company is having, let's say, 30% attrition. Okay, so it is, a lot of pressure is there from the management and leadership to understand what is the reason for attrition. So we cannot go and get all the details of individual employees. They will just write something to just for the namesake in their resignation letter, right? So what we did is we just went and took the data of employees from last 4 years, 5 years. We saw what is their year on year hike. We saw if they have raised some issues or concern in the past. We saw um, if they have been moved from one unit to other unit, one team to other team. We saw how many times managers were changed. All these will become your features. Okay, and we created a very extensive data for with all these features. We did some analysis. We started with logistic regression. It did not work. We went with ABC model. It worked, and we deployed that in our system. And every time somebody wants to, this model is run quarterly. We take that pickle file or whatever you want to call it, and we predict if somebody is about to churn. Again, a end-to-end solution, a story in which somebody will be interested. And you can also say that we got these features were more important. For example, if somebody has been changed team 2 3 times in last 1 year, that person is frustrated and that person leaves. So just one example I gave. If you are a HR, you can create a story like this. Okay, if you are working in, let's say, application development, if you are working in application development, or you have built application for a bank, and that application is, let's say, internet banking application, right? So you can say that in internet banking what happens is many times, so I will write here application development team you are working in. Okay, so you can say that whenever people come to internet banking, then sometimes they don't know what is the right way to navigate to one particular thing. For example, if I want to see my car loan details, I don't know which section to go. I have to do multiple clicks, loan section, this section, that section, right? So what we have done is we have built a chatbot which will take the user input and directly navigate the user to the that particular section. So how can I help you? And user will spend less time on the website and users are happy. How did you build that model? How did you take the data? We took all the past data of the user, past movement of the user, past clicks of the user, and then when the user is logging out, what is the last thing user is looking at, right? And we created a data, we trained the model, we trained our chatbot based on more and more questions we asked user for 3 months of time. We asked these questions. Based on these two, we built a hybrid model. We deployed it. It is working fine. And on this, see, everything I cannot tell you over this call, okay? Because this goes on YouTube. So your ML machine learning component can be little different from what story you explain here or what story you explain here. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. So suppose you build a model for you build two different use cases. Okay, two use cases. Okay, who is stopping you to add the experience of this use case and this use case together when you are explaining the project? Nobody is explaining, nobody is stopping you, right? So even if some institute has given you some project, right, there would be good things in that project. There would be very good feature engineering in that project. There would be very good maybe pipelines in that project. Use those good things of that project, and you know when you make a cake, right, do the garnishing of this and this, and then present your story. So what I'm saying is you have to be little intelligent in what project you are putting, how this is making sense, how this is helping the business, and how other person will be impressed when I explain that. You have to take care of technical explanation, you have to take care of business benefits, you have to take care of if any cross question comes, then how I will answer. Okay, so I think I have explained enough here. Now this is not a do this, do that, do that, do that. No, this is kind of thought-provoking session I'm trying to take here. Think what interviewer wants to hear and explain like that. So you guys can shoot your questions now. I will take a pause. based on your scenario or your situation, you can ask what is the doubt. And another thing is, don't copy someone else's project. So many people will copy someone else's. I know one data scientist who is working in ABC XYZ company. He gave me his project. Okay, so uh, if he gives your project, then do you think you'll be able to answer all the questions? Hi everyone. Hi Surinder. Hello Suban Cricket Academy. Does does it is it important, I think you are asking, to explain PCA? See, if you are writing you have used PCA, then you must explain PCA. Also, these are common topics, right? So you can expect interviewer to ask you these questions also. I mean, even if you are not writing in your project you used, but they may ask you like, any variable reduction technique you used, or explain PCA. These kind of things they can ask you. So if you're writing PCA, definitely you should be prepared. Even if you are not writing, they may ask you, is what I'm saying. Are you facing difficulties in explaining the project in the interview? That is my first question. If yes, what is the place where you are facing difficulty? I mean, are you not able to answer the technical follow-up questions, or are you not able to create a very good story? We will discuss more on that part only. You can ask your questions, because all of you know project is very very important, right? So meanwhile, I will write here two videos that you must watch on Unfold Data Science. One is write project for your resume. Write project for your resume. And other is how I explain my project, something like that. How I explain my project in interview. So these two videos you will find on Unfold Data Science, and whoever has watched, they have given a good feedback. So you are able to get valuable insights from this. Okay. Any difficulties you are facing, any questions you are having, we can take it. Sambit is asking, I'm working as a developer in cyber security. What can be a good project for me? So simple. Cyber security means you have data, you have access to data, right? Cyber security kind of data. So very good projects you can derive. For example, patterns of cyber threat, or whether it is a cyber threat or not. It depends on what you want to do. Or maybe if you have some text data, you can do a lot of many things around natural language processing. Very interesting area, and very very good projects you can do. I have not seen your data, otherwise I can give you more knowledge on what can be done. How to get data from client, how we explain it. How to get data from client means which, I'm not understanding, like in the job you are saying from the client, or freelancing kind of work you are saying? Karan, thanks for joining. Yes, my idea of these sessions are some of the common questions should be cleared for everybody. And see, we have to be little smart. Okay, don't think like, um, see, every time you change a job, it has to be little smart way of changing job. So it should not be like traditional way. Okay, I worked on this. This is the project. Blah blah blah. 30% hike. No, we are not changing that, right? We are changing a huge jump in the career. That will happen only when we act smart. So it depends. What you want to explain is how did you get the job? How did you get the data from the client, right? So it depends. So I will give you 3 4 scenarios. Okay. From my experience, I will tell you. So first is the concept of data lakes. Okay. Data lakes. What is data lakes? Data lakes is a common place where organization will put almost all their data, and whoever needs data, they will come and take from the lake. Okay. And this data lake can be in cloud, or this can be in a on-prem kind of Hadoop cluster. Okay. So how did you get the data? The answer will depend on where the data is. If it is in cloud, you will obviously get a Azure connector or AWS connector before bringing the data for analysis. And if it is in big data hive kind of environments and you are working in Python, obviously you will use some library or some module to pull the data. Okay. So this is one kind of scenario where your data is residing. Second kind of scenario can be um, somebody from the business give you some very sensitive data which cannot be shared otherwise. Somebody gave you in one large Excel sheet. This is also possible for some small proof of concept or for some small project. They gave you some useful data in Excel that can be used, right? So that is another way of telling that, okay, this was a sensitive data, this could not be shared in, there was very very sensitive kind of data. For example, if I want to analyze the salary of employee data of TCS, for example, very very sensitive data, and very very, it cannot be found in any databases probably, or having access to that database may be very very difficult. So maybe somebody will, some very very senior person, they will give us this data in a kind of Excel sheet or maybe file. So it depends on who is your client, where the data is residing. Suppose you want to build a you want to the use case is optimize 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 cost of cost of Flipkart products. Okay, this is what your model does. So if you want to optimize cost of Flipkart products, then obviously you want to see the competitor price, right? So if you want to see the competitor price, then you will have to scrap the data of Amazon. So in this case, data comes from Amazon website. Let's say Dell ABC laptop price, ABC model price in Amazon website is 60,000 rupees. Okay. So this data should come to your model, and then the optimal price for Flipkart products should be decided. That is what your model does. So in this case, for training your model or for prediction, the data comes from web scraping. So it depends on what story you are creating, what use case you are trying to explain. Based on all these things, it will depend. This was answer to ENGZKIDA. Thanks, Umesh, for joining. Anybody, any other question? Or you guys are looking at World Cup final score? I don't know. What happened in match? I think England on the verge of winning, right? Any technical things also you can ask, not a problem. Whatever difficulties you are facing, you can ask, not a problem. Can you discuss more on the story building part? That will be useful. Yes, story building part is very, very critical. Okay. So see, this has become more critical nowadays. The reason for that is, especially in our field, right? They will give you very less time to explain what you need. It's all money, right? Suppose don't think that you will always be a junior guy, right? You will become a senior person also. And then what may happen is, you may say that I need a team of 50 people. Okay. I need a team of 50 people. I want to hire from the market. Understand this, guys. I want to hire from market. Okay. And I want XYZ budgets for hiring. So your leadership will ask you, okay, you are asking this much of money. So what value proposition you will bring after hiring 50 people, after creating a big team? What is that you are planning to do? So at that time, you should have a very good way of explaining what you want or why you want something. So storytelling is not only important in day to day or project explanation, but also as you grow, as you attend interviews, as you try to sell anything, skill is very very important. Okay, so story building part in terms of data science projects or data science knowledge, what there are few components of story building. Okay, first of all, it has to be simple to understand your story. Okay, simple to understand, don't put lot of jargons, lot of technical terms, because you have to make it easy for non-technical background people, business people, everybody should understand. Okay, your story should be simple to understand, and your story should be interesting to view. So I will tell you what is the meaning of that. Interesting to view. Okay, um, let me think through one example and give you. I'll take 1 minute of time. Mm, what short example I can give you? Mm, okay, so let's take an example of a bank. Okay, so in the bank, let's say your model, what it does is it it kind of predicts suspicious activities. I'm not saying a fraud, I'm saying suspicious activities. Okay, so if you build a model that predicts suspicious activities and you want to build a story around it, right? Build a story around it. So there will be one part of what the current scenario is. There will be other part of how machine learning could help in that. And there will be third part of, very, very simple to understand for business, what we have been able to do. Okay. It should be very simple and plain. So here you can say that um, actually we have, let's say 1 million customers, 1 million customers, but in the tax payment to the government, last time what we observed is the tax payment were pretty low as compared to year before that, which means that some customers are somehow not paying the tax to the government, or they are doing something suspicious. Okay, this is the problem statement. So what we understand is, for example, if I'm talking of HDFC Bank, then income tax paid to the government should be, let's say, XYZ number. But what we observed last year is this XYZ number became XYZ minus 20%. Actually, it should increase by some number, some margin. So we tried to understand what is the suspicious activities. Okay, and then we did some bit of analysis on transactions, some bit of analysis on how the people are transferring money from one account to other account, and this is what we observed. Okay, so there are some big customers. Okay, big customers. In one axis you can show transactions, in other axis you can show uh, you know uh, when was the date or etc. Okay, and here you can say all these big transactions. For example, a large transaction was done on the self bank account. Self bank account means people are sending money to their own different account, or to their family account, or to their relatives account, maybe, if you have that data. Okay, so all these big transactions are there to somehow evade the tax, somehow skip the tax. So we have one story starting from here. We want to understand the suspicious activity. Why? Because we saw that the tax payment came down. We did some machine learning transaction monitoring. And here are the big transactions which are being sent to either same account or family or relatives account, just to avoid tax. This is one simple example of how you can create a story. This I thought in just 30 seconds, 40 seconds, but I'm just trying to tell you it can be pretty simple. No need to go into much technical details, technical jargons. Keep it friendly to laymen. Okay. So like that you have to explain. I hope I was able to answer your question, Karan. Anybody who got the job in data science, ask them. They will tell you a unique path of how they did it, how they explained. Okay. So you have to be that person who is explaining your own things in the interview. Okay. Any other thing? Last 5 to 10 minutes, guys. I can take it. Last 5 to 10 minutes. Can you give some basic technology which are used in a project? Basic technology, see, you have to understand the journey of the data, right? To understand the basic technology. So what is the journey of the data? So all of you guys are, in data science. Tell me what is journey of the data? A very simple concept. First, data gets created, data creation, okay? Then data gets captured or stored. So you will capture or store. Then data gets analyzed, okay? And then data gets, you can say purged or deleted. Just purged, not that very important. But high level, data gets created. So data creation, who will do? Customers will do. As a data scientist, you have any role here? Mostly no. Okay. Data storage, who will do and what tools will be used? Data engineers will do, people working in ETL will do, people who is doing the web scraping, people who is collecting the data, people who are doing the surveys. All those people will kind of create and store data, right? Data will be stored using some ETL tools like Informatica, like Teradata, like SAP HANA, like all these tools, right? And then using some bit of SQL. So I'm trying to answer you technologies used in data science project or in and around data science, right? So maybe ETL, SQL, and Excel sheets. So all these will be used in storing the data, right? Or if you are storing in cloud technology, then obviously the concept of, for example, if you are using in Amazon S3 buckets, all these things will be coming into picture in storage. Now, main thing as a data scientist is the analysis part. Okay. So what things or what technology you used in analyzing the data? So suppose you used Python as a programming language. So that you used or R. Okay. Then in analysis, visualization will come. So it can be any visualization tool. For example, Power BI. For example, you can say what other visualization? Tableau, right? These kind of things may come. Then comes what tools or techniques you used, right? So it will be, you know, these things will be common. For example, SQL and Excel, these things. And then of course your domain knowledge you have used, right? And of course machine learning you have used, right? You have used deep learning, then that is something you have used. If you have used some outside library, for example Stanford NLP library or any other library, those things will come into picture. All these things will come into the analysis part. So to answer your question, what technologies will be used, more or less, this is the bucket from where you will use the things. Okay. And if it's a on-prem, then obviously they will use Hadoop. Okay. And if it is not on-prem, they will use whatever cloud technology they are using. I hope I was able to answer your question. Basic technologies used in a project. Okay. Anything else, guys? Last 5 minutes. Okay, Utkarsh is asking, he has made a Netflix. He made a EDA project on Netflix data set, but he is confused about machine learning project. Can you please guide? So that is what we discussed, Utkarsh. You can pull the video back and watch it later. That is what we discussed, how to create your own story, how to do a good project, how to work around that, right? And if you have more, see, if you guys have a thought process, and if you want to, if you have some question on how to do it, you can obviously reach me on email, not a problem, or LinkedIn. So I hope this session was useful, guys. I will just sum it up. Okay. How many projects do you need? You need 2 projects minimum, and as many projects you want to do. Okay. Preparation to build a main project, have a front end, have a GitHub, have a place where people can touch and feel your project. Okay. Components of good project is something that is closer to your knowledge area, something that is interesting and unique, and something that is end to end. Okay. What is a good project for me depends on again your knowledge, experience, what makes you talk more. Okay. How to get data? If you're working in a company, try to put all your effort in using the data, because that will be more closer to real world or industry data. If you're working, if you're a student, try to see if you can get some college data, if you can get some university data, if you can get some kaggle data, and something which is closer to your knowledge area. Build a story around that. I gave examples. You can go back in the video and see this example of HR attrition problem I gave, and university thing I gave one example, right, for the students. So those two examples you can see to understand. So what I'm trying to say you is your resume should look different from someone else's resume. Your story should be different from someone else's story. Okay, put some brainer, think what will make sense, where you can create an end-to-end story, talk in an interesting way, and showcase your knowledge also. Now I'm saying you will explain one or two projects only in the interview, but there is no harm in mixing the knowledge of multiple projects. Suppose you have worked on 5 projects. Okay, your institute gave you one very good project, you worked yourself on 1 or 2 projects. So when you are explaining, try to take the good things from all those projects. Okay, and show to the interviewer that this is also I have done, this is also I have done. So that way you will increase your chances of um, they will be interested in your profile if you talk different things. One important thing, do not finish your project in 10 minutes. If interviewer tells you to talk about your project, do not finish in 10 minutes. There are people who will say, I fit a random forest, I will confusion matrix looking like this, done. Don't do that. Okay. Create a story, explain the technicalities, take a pause and ask, do you have any question till here? Then go to the business value, business benefits, like that. Okay. So don't take it as a question which you have to complete and get away. No, take it as a discussion. Okay. Because your project is your main thing. That is where they will try to see if you are useful to them. Tushar is asking 2 questions: how to get industrial project to explain in interview. So same thing we discussed some time back. And how to get jobs in USA and UK. There are different kind of visas. People need to sponsor you, or people need to give you H1B kind of visa. Then only you can get a job. And on this topic, I have some guidance on YouTube channel. You can watch that. But interview process is slightly different in USA and UK than in India. Also, the companies which follow USA UK culture, there will be little different. You will see little different kind of rounds in the interview. Okay, it will not be in India. HR will call you, what is your experience, what is your salary expectation, when you are available for interview, and your interview gets scheduled. So in USA, UK, it's slightly different. Okay, you will understand once you try applying for the jobs. So thank you everyone for joining, and please share this video with people who think it will be as useful. And uh, please share Unfold Data Science channel with people you think that will help them. Okay, I will see you all in the next video, guys. I hope this session was helpful to you. This is just a thought awakening session. This is not a stepwise process to follow. This is like, how do you think about what makes sense? Okay, so I hope you like the session, guys, and I will see you all in the next session or next video. Have a nice rest of the Sunday, guys.